Chapter 8. Back at camp, Miss Frizzle saw a big emperor penguin waddle toward the tent, alone. "Cecil, where are they?" she called out. "I couldn't find them," Uncle Cecil answered. "There are Adelie penguins everywhere." "I'm not giving up," the Frizz exclaimed. She ran over to the magic school bus, the magic school snowmobile, climbed inside, and started the engine. There was a loud roar. The magic school bus was at it again. A big propeller popped out of the top. The treads turned into skis, and the snowmobile turned into a snow helicopter. Miss Frizzle sat in the cockpit. She motioned to Uncle Cecil, "We're going on a search mission." Uncle Cecil waddled over to the copter's door and hopped inside. Then, with a roar of the engine, the copter took off. It flew straight up into the clear Antarctic air. Miss Frizzle flew out above the ice shelf. "Where did you last see the kids, Cecil?" Miss Frizzle asked. "I was right behind a pile of rocks," Uncle Cecil said. "It was right down there. A bit behind us." The Frizz made a loop in the sky. Then she zoomed down to the rocks and hovered for a minute. "Do you see them anywhere?" she asked. Uncle Cecil was sticking his penguin head out the window. He shook it sadly. "Let's see. Where else would I go if I were a penguin?" Miss Frizzle asked herself. She sighed, the end of the ice shelf hanging over the water. She sighted the end of the ice shelf hanging over the water. She gained altitude and then flew over toward the water. "There are hundreds and hundreds of penguins down there," Uncle Cecil said with dismay. "Not to worry, Cecil," the Frizz exclaimed. "We'll find them." She dropped the bus copter lower in the sky. The penguins on the ice below became excited by the noise. They milled around, looking up. Suddenly, the Frizz let out a gasp. "Look, Cecil, down to the right." 8 Adelie penguins were staring up at the bus copter, and they had human faces. "We found them!" Uncle Cecil yelled. The 8 of us kid penguins were staring up at the sky with big smiles on our faces. "They found us!" I yelled. "We watched Miss Frizzle bring the bus copter down onto the ice. All the other penguins ran away in every direction, but we were hopping up and down with joy." "Miss Frizzle!" Dorothy Ann yelled with relief. "Uncle Cecil!" I called out. "Is that you?" Uncle Cecil ran up to me and gave me a big penguin hug. "Come on," the Frizz said. "Hop onto the bus copter. I'll fly you back to camp." "But I can't leave," Arnold said. "I'm stuck on these eggs until my mate comes back." "Arnold!" Miss Frizzle said. "I'm not really her mate," Arnold said, "but I can't leave the eggs until they hatch. The chicks could die." Just then, there was a pecking noise. Arnold looked down at one of the eggs. A little bill was sticking out of the egg. A minute later, more of the shell cracked open. A little flipper stuck out. "Way to go, Arnold!" "Ooh, it's hatching," I said. "Move over a little, Arnold." "Move over a little, Arnold." Arnold moved aside so we could all watch the baby penguin hatch. Soon it was free of its shell. Just then, its mother waddled up to the nest. She pushed Arnold aside and took over her baby. From Cecil Penguin Papers, Chilly Chicks. Most Adelie penguins incubate 2 eggs at a time. The little chicks hatch out at more or less the same time. One is usually stronger than the other and has a better chance of surviving. When first born, the chicks are kept warm by their parents, but after 2 or 3 weeks, they develop a thick, woolly gray down. Then they join other chicks in crutches or nursery groups. "I think it's time to leave, Arnold," Miss Frizzle said with a twinkle in her eye. "Bye Congratulations! Miss Frizzle climbed into the bus copter and we all followed. It was very crowded inside with 9 penguins. The bus copter zoomed up into the sky. Phew! I'm getting hot in here, Arnold said. These feathers are great for icy weather, Uncle Cecil added, but they are too much for inside. And we can't even take our coats off, Tim complained. By the time the bus copter landed back at camp, we penguins were steaming. We couldn't wait to get back into the ice-cold air. After everyone piled out of the bus copter, Uncle Cecil pulled on my flipper. Phoebe, look, he said, pointing to the bus copter floor. A layer of penguin feathers was scattered on the floor. We had been shedding in the heat. I've got an idea, Uncle Cecil said. Let's all go inside the tent. But it's hot in there, Arnold complained. Exactly, Uncle Cecil said. We went inside the tent, and I started sweating even more in my penguin suit. Will we be penguins forever? Wanda asked Miss Frizzle. As soon as Arnold heard that, he started to cry. I don't want to live in a zoo, he sobbed. I'm sure our parents would come to visit us, Tim said. I just want to be my old self, Arnold said. I think you're in luck, Arnold, Uncle Cecil said. Take a look at the floor. All of us kid penguins looked down at our feet. There were heaps of feathers and drops of oil all around us. The best news was that we had real feet. We were turning back into humans again. Yippee! Carlos said. I don't want to wear that suit anymore. I ran up and hugged Uncle Cecil. He was back to his old self, too. The heat must have reversed the effects of my formula, he said. Thank goodness. What will you do with your secret formula now, Cecil? Dorothy Ann asked. It's all gone. And I'm not going to make any more, Uncle Cecil answered. I've learned my lesson. Don't mess with Mother Nature. But what about your work with penguins? I asked. I'll keep studying them. I want to do as much as I can to protect them in the wild, Uncle Cecil said. They are a fascinating bird. Start packing your things, class, Miss Frizzle announced. We're going home. Everyone cheered, especially the 8 of us who had been penguins. We had been worried there for a while. Antarctica is a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Miss Frizzle led us outside. The magic school bus had transformed into the magic school jet again. We pulled down the tent and packed everything up. We made sure we left Antarctica just as clean as we found it. Then we got inside the jet and took off. As we flew over the ice shelf, we waved goodbye to the Ediel penguins. It looked like they were waving their flippers back at us. This was one adventure we would never forget.